The role of business is an evolving thing for us as executives of Adams boards or mental health and recovery services boards. In the past, we haven't had a lot of interaction with business, other than maybe at a levy time to ask them to support our levy, or to see them at a chamber or Rotary event or some other service club. But I think we're coming to recognize more and more that business gives us access to employees, supervisors, and even families to talk a little bit about drugs, prevention of drug abuse, and an opportunity for us to really solidify a workforce that is competent and available. I think that's the biggest challenge all of us have. Today, the whole scenario is different. One of the questions that employers ask me is, how can I help employees who fail a drug screen? That's a new question, and it's an area that we're not that comfortable with right yet.
We help a lot of people get jobs. We have 18 different offices in Northwest Ohio. Last year we had about 7,000 people that we employed at 250 companies, again in Northwest Ohio. Mike was hearing a lot of stories about companies needing employees, and they couldn't find them because too many of them were drug tested and they failed the drug test. So one day he came to our office and he said, "Tell me about this with Spirion. Are you experiencing this same problem?" And I said, "Oh my goodness, yes, this is a huge problem. Drug testing, we eliminate 50% of the people sometimes." So Mike knew this was a real opportunity.
We've been doing we call it We Care at Work, but it's a drug-free workplace program in Allen, Auglaize, and Hardin counties for about 3 years. And what I have learned over the course of those 3 years is that the personal contact that I have as a board exec with businesses makes a huge difference. Business owners aren't used to having the executive director of a Adams board or a mental health and recovery services board come out to their place of business, sit down for a half an hour, and talk about services available and how a drug-free workplace program can not only help them retain and hire employees, but also help us keep people drug-free, keep them with their families, and keep them on the job. So that was a real revelation to me. I didn't understand the power and the impact of just a quiet word behind the scenes with an employer would have. I think the most difficult thing for us has been, as board execs, has been we're used to talking to social workers. We're used to talking to hospitals and doctors. The business community hasn't been as easy to talk to, partly because we haven't found, in the past, we haven't found kind of a niche for us with them. So I went to each Chamber of Commerce and I explained to them the program, and within 10 minutes, all the chambers said, "No, this is a big problem." They were all willing to get on board, and I said, "Look, if you endorse this program," and I explained what it was, I said, "that gives me leverage." And I said, when we do a presentation, I'll have you stand up and take credit for it. But that gives me leverage and an in with businesses that I would never have if all of a sudden the mental health guy's calling, because they don't know who I am, and they don't know what benefit I can be. The time I spent with them was a half an hour or less. Because you think, going out, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to spend 2 hours of my day." For the most part, it was a half an hour, me with the business owner and the HR director, and about 20 minutes into it, they got it. In the last 10 minutes, we were just talking about sports. And I left not only with them being committed to participating in the We Care at Work program, our drug-free workplace program, but also now I had an employer, the HR person, and probably other people on the staff or employees who now saw the mental health board and our programs as a benefit to them. So it was almost like, oh, so this is why we vote for your levy. I kind of gained friends and supporters because they saw me as an asset. There was a mutual benefit because I told them if I can get an employee into treatment early, I have 100% better chance of returning them to the workplace drug-free than if they get fired, get passed on to another employer who then fires them, and they never get treatment. I said, that's the benefit for me, is I divert all these people from a criminal justice system that makes it much more difficult for us. So they win, we win, and I've got new friends. It couldn't be better. We really target as much as possible local employers. So we're not looking for the big Fords or Hondas. They have a corporate structure that, and we're not going to be in with them. We're interested in the small business owner who has maybe 50 employees, maybe 100, maybe less, who can't afford a big attorney from Columbus to work out their drug-free workplace program for them. And those are the ones that are most interested because they recognize the fact that they could never afford this. So for each one of those employers, you know, there's 20 to 50 employees. Each one of those employees, many of them have a family. So now we're impacting that person's family. So add another 4 or 5 people onto that. And just in that one employer, I've impacted possibly thousands of lives and maybe prevented kids from getting involved in substance abuse in school because dad came home or mom came home and talked about what they learned at work. I don't think I'll ever really know the impact that this is going to have. Whenever we go and talk to employers, I always tell them that there's a mutual benefit. If you're able to retain a good employee who's maybe made a mistake or maybe has a problem you didn't even know existed, how much less will you have to pay to recruit, hire, train, and get a new employee in place? And I don't even have to finish my sentence before they get it. They said, "Oh no, that's huge." What's in it for me? The earlier I get somebody into treatment, the more successful I'm going to be. A parent who goes and talks to their child about drugs, that child is 50% less likely to use. I'm less likely to see that person in our treatment programs. So there's a cost benefit to the community, there's a cost benefit to the business, and there's a huge cost benefit to the mental health and recovery services in our communities.